Hey, everybody. Welcome to yet another great interview at our Business Connection Virtual Summit. Today, we are talking to Will Crist from EOS Worldwide, and we're going to be talking all about vision, how important it is to your company, how to create it, and how to really implement it in your business. So, Will, without further ado, if you can tell us who you are, what you do, and a brief little intro to vision and what we're going to talk about today.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm Will Crist. I'm an EOS implementer. I'm a certified implementer. EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System put together by Gino Wickman about 20 years ago. And, what we do is help companies get really clear about where they want to go and how they're going to get there. And so today we're going to talk about one of the 6 key competencies in EOS. And just for reference, the 6 key competencies are vision, knowing where you're going, how you're going to get there, people, getting the right people in the right seat, data, getting really clear about your scorecard and how everybody has a part in that to have a measurable, at least one measurable to help that company move forward. And then issues, learning how to solve problems, solve issues as they come up, not leaving them around, kind of tying them up with duct tape and baling wire and pushing them under the table, because eventually it's going to implode on you. So vision, people, data, issues, and then process, getting all your processes documented, simplified, and then followed by all. And then finally, traction, talking about how to have great meetings, how to get into a 90-day world so that we're all looking at working in 90 days, look up and take a deep breath. How did we do? Are we still on the same page with the vision that we're going to be talking about today? And then what are we going to accomplish in the next 90 days? Those are the 6 key competencies, and vision is the first one. So I'm ready to talk about vision when you are.
Awesome. So, I think the first thing that we need to do is really define what vision is. A lot of people might think it's just as simple as like we sell, toilet paper, but what is vision and why does a company need it?
Well, every company does have visions.
Mhm.
Everybody in the company, especially people on the leadership team, have a vision for where the company should be going and how it's going to get there. The problem is they don't agree on the vision. So it's not so much do we need to have a vision, visions are already there. Nobody sits on a leadership team, no founder, no president, no CEO has lives without a vision for where they want it to go or where they fear it might go, which is just the negatives part of the vision.
Mhm.
But the real issue is, do we all agree on what that vision is?
Okay. So, the way that we want the company to go, where we need it to be, and what we all see it becoming is the vision. And so let's say we do have a bunch of people in the company who all have different visions, or the vision isn't very clear, it has no clarity.
Mm-hmm.
How do we bring that together as a team?
I'm so glad that you asked. I'm so glad that you asked. If you will share, let me share my screen with you. I'll show you the tool and the discipline that we use to help create vision. And here is the tool that we use. And man, just to let people know, this is a great tool. You don't have to be using me or EOS to use it. You can download it for free. I'll make it available to you. You can email me, or you can just go up to EOS Worldwide and look for the Vision Traction Organizer downloaded. It's a wonderful tool. There are 8 questions that we need to get answers for from not just the CEO. CEO may have a lot of these things rolling around their head, the founder, the president, but we want the whole leadership team to understand it very clearly and to believe in it. And ultimately, the entire organization to believe in it. So the 8 questions are, and we'll work through them. 8 questions are, what are your core values? What's your core focus? What's your 10-year target? What's your marketing strategy? What's your 3-year picture? What's your 1-year plan? What are your rocks? What are the things that need to get done in the next 90 days? And what's your issues list? Now, let me take this one at a time and talk about it. Core values. I'm sure everybody has heard about core values, maybe even have core values. Now, we're not talking about something that we read in a book and think, well, that's a great set of core values. We'll just use those. Uh, those are aspirational. We want to look at what it is that is in that leadership team that brings them together every day. Why do they keep coming to work here? What is it that we share common core values? Now, I take people, my clients, through an exercise to discover those core values. It's not that difficult. People can do it themselves, but the important thing is it's not one person declaring what the core values are. It doesn't come from outside the organization. It's inside. Now, we're going to find out that we're going to use these core values later on in the organization, because by getting really clear about those core values, living them out is going to attract great people into the organization. It'll also repel people who don't fit the organization. So we want to get for the best company, we want to get to 100% right people, right seat, which means 100% of the people are living out those core values every day. So getting clear on the core values, that's a big part of the vision. This is what we want this place to continue to be as we move forward. And all the other things are going to always be up against those core values. If we have a new product line coming in, a new service we're talking about, if we want to talk about an investment, how does that fit our core values? So that's why this is so important to get really clear. Can they change? Yeah, they can, but we need to all, as a group, the leadership team, keep working on those, change them, clearly clarify them so we really understand what they are, because this is going to be shared with everybody in the organization, all those core values. So that's core values. Core focus. Core focus. What is it that we are passionate about? Or what's our cause? What are we trying to get done here? Or what's our purpose? Why are we doing this? Now, another way of talking about it is, how are we making the world a better place? How are we making the world a better place? Because if we're not making the world a better place, we may not be a very good corporate citizen. But everybody begins with this notion of, we're going to make the world a better place, make it easier, make it faster, more efficient, more effective, something that we're doing to contribute to making the world better. So we get clear about that, because this is going to help us make decisions when we get all these things that come in. Sometimes they're just shiny objects, take us down a rabbit hole, going to come back, wake up 90 days later and say, whoa, how did we get so far off track? Core focus. What's our purpose or our cause or our passion? And then finally, what's our niche? Who are we working with? What is it that we're doing this for? How do we get to be the best we can be? And what is it that we can do better than anybody else in the world? That's our core focus. Now, knowing what our core values are, what our core focus is, where do we want to go? And that's where we talk about the 10-year target. Now, for us, it could be 5 years, could be 10, 15, 20. We use 10-year target as a placeholder. What's the one big thing that's going to be victory for us? That's going to be this: we succeeded. We got to the mountaintop. What does that mountaintop look like? How do we measure it? Some companies, it's a big, hairy number of revenue or profit. For some, it's a quality of life. For some, it's how they deal with their competitors. But something there that we all clearly see is where we're going and how we're going to plant the flag when we get there. So core values, core focus, 10-year target. Now that we know who we are, what we do, and where we're going, who are we going to be talking to? Who are we going to be talking to? And this is our marketing strategy. And what this means is, number one, who's our target market? Who are the people we need to be talking to? Is it CEOs of other companies? Is it some CTO of another company? Is it consumers? Who are our ideal clients? Now, it could be more than one. Speaking with a group yesterday, They're an MLM, so they've got two. They got people who are going to be members of the MLM, and then they got the customers who are just buying. So getting really clear on what is our ideal target, and do we have more than one? So we want to know in that ideal target, what are the geographics? Is this worldwide? Is this North America? Is this regional? Is it local? What's our geographics? What's our demographics? Who are we talking to? Is it B2B? Is it B2C? And what kind of companies are there if we're working on a B2B relationship? And then finally, what are the psychographics that are going to cause people to want to buy from us? How are they feeling? Help understand what they should be feeling right now. And if you want to see psychographics, just get on the 5 o'clock news in the afternoon and look at all those drug ads. That's psychographics. You're feeling this? Buy this. Talk to your doctor about this. It'll solve your problem. That's psychographics. But we want to know, what are the psychographics for our ideal customer? And then, what is our proven process? What do we know is the normal way from somebody to go from just thinking about working with us or buying from us all the way to where they're raving fans? So how do we put that into a graphic? Like, some people put it in a circle, some people put it in a line, some people put it in a matrix, but we want to get it onto one sheet with a graphic that we can hand to our prospect and say, you work with us, you buy this from us, this is what happens. And then finally, what's our guarantee? What do we use to help people get over that abyss of mistrust? Not everybody has a guarantee, but that's one. So now we are really clear. We got who we are with our core values, what we do with our core focus, where we're going with our 10-year target, and how we're going to get there with our marketing strategy. So we have a clear vision now. Now let's begin to move it into a way where we can really see. Let's take a look at 3 short years from now. And this is a 3-year picture, not just a bunch of words, but we want to get to the feelings about this. We want to be able to use our senses to see what's happening. So we pick a date, 3 short years from where we're putting this together. What's our revenue going to be then? What do we predict? Not a hope, not a dream, not a goal, but what are we going to predict that revenue is? And then what do we predict our profit will be from there? And do we have some measurables that will help us track along the way? And then we got 5 to 15 bullets there on that sheet. And what we want to do is we want to get very, very crystal clear. We want to literally, in our mind's eye, go up from where we are, move down the timeline 3 years from now, come back down and look around. What do you see? Same building? How many people are here? What kind of technology are we using? What has changed in the marketplace? All of this is our prediction about what will happen. Now, the beauty is that when the leadership team all agrees on where they're, and what that's going to look like, the chances of achieving it, they go through the roof. So this 3-year picture is really getting it out of the head of the person who's got the biggest vision, who is generally the founder or the president or the CEO, getting it out of their head onto the table, painting it in Technicolor so we all see it. And that makes for a great direction, but it also makes it much simpler to take a look at how we look at what's going to happen in the next year. What's our 1-year plan that's going to take us forward into that 3-year picture? Again, what's the date? What do we predict our revenue is going to be? What do we predict our profit will be? What's the same measurables we had up above, but what are we going to achieve this year? Then we ask, what are the 5 to 7 most important goals for the year? Not 23, not 56, not even 15. Less is more, because when everything's important, nothing's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is get really clear about what are the 5 to 7 things we are absolutely going to get done this year to move us forward. That's our 1-year plan. What are the most important things? We call them rocks What are the most important things for us to get done in the next 90 days? Now, this vision has gone from 10 years to 3 years to 1 year. Now we're looking at what's going to happen in the next 90 days. What are the most important things? We're going to get into a life of 90-day world, because just having the vision is not enough. In fact, the biggest impediment and the most frustration for a CEO or that founder with this great vision, the biggest frustration is it doesn't happen. No traction. And so one of the ways we, in this document that we use, and I encourage everybody to use, is we live in a 90-day world, We're rushing around doing our business. 90 days, we stop, take a deep breath, look up. How did we do last quarter? We said we would do these things. Did we, in fact, get them done? Then we take a look at this whole document again and make sure we're all on the same page, because after 90 days, sometimes we're not. We want to make sure we all agree these are the answers to these 8 questions. Then we take a look at where we're going to go next. What are the next 90 days? What are the things we're going to accomplish? What are the 5 to 7 most important things for us to accomplish as a company? And then we want to also break down to have 3 to 5 rocks, things that we're going to get done individually as a leadership team, each one of us. That's how we measure our track and motivate our way in this 90-day world. And then finally, the issues list. Very important so that issues aren't an impediment to making that vision real. So what we want to do is get to the place where everybody in the company, 100% of the people in the company, feel very comfortable pointing out a problem. They don't have to go to the coffee room and whisper about it. They just put it on the issues list to be solved, to be taken, be looked at, identify what the real problem is, come up with all the possible solutions, and then pick one and go out and make it work. Get that issues list so that all those issues are dealt with at some point at some place in the company. That is what we call the VTO, or the Vision Traction Organizer. That's what vision means for companies that are really doing a great job.
Absolutely. And it's really great the way that you broke this down so that we can see it and really, see it piece by piece. A couple of things that I wanted to mention was, when we're coming up with our core values and our core focus, the wording is just as important as to how, what the point is too, because someone might read it and think it's something different. So,
Yes.
putting something as simple as, we have integrity, like, okay, but integrity in what? In what way? With what ability? Be as specific and as measurable as you can. So, it's important to think about the wording and the verbiage that you're using as well. And trying to be as concise as you can. We don't want to run on sentences.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
And I like how, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, so I like also how you're breaking it down from further out and down to the smaller version. A lot of times people will try to start in the opposite direction, and it makes it extremely difficult because you'll start stacking things on top of each other and realize you don't know where you're headed. So if you reverse engineer it by having the further out target, you're right. It makes it much easier to piece it down. And I think that, by coming up with the core values and the focus for the vision first, it helps you apply that to everything, just like you were saying. So I think that's a really important thing to take away from it as well. So, this is really good. So with everything that we just talked about, I think people definitely have a clear vision on how to put their vision together and the things that can come from it. So before we get into some actionable steps of, how to start using this, obviously getting this sheet is one piece of it. Is there anything else about vision, how it's important, or creating, or anything like that we should talk about before that?
Right. The one other discipline that we use around this for the vision component is that this VTO this vision traction organizer is the basis for the quarterly company conversation. So this is shared with everybody in the company, all company meeting once a quarter. These are our core values. Let me give you some examples of what that means, because everybody might not agree or might not understand. But let me give you examples of things that I have seen in the organization where the core values have been lived. Maybe here's an example of where they weren't lived, and goes the consequences of that for the company. And this gets shared by all, so that we know you gotta hear it 7 times before you're actually believing it and living it out. So all of this goes on every quarter. We go through talking about what we did last quarter with the whole company, where we succeeded, where we didn't succeed like we wanted to, where we're going next quarter. We share this VTO with examples of it so that people can begin to, number one, recognize they belong in this organization. They fit those core values like a glove. They belong here. Number two, they believe in where the company's going. They believe it because they hear it over and over again. This is not something to be taken lightly. This is not something we stick on the wall and hope people will abide by. This is where we help people see this is where we're going. Because as supervisors meet with their people every quarter to have what we call a 5-5-5 conversation, where they're talking about 5 minutes on how are you doing with our core values? How's that working for you? This is what I see. What do you see? 5 minutes on the rocks, because everybody's going to have at least one thing they're doing in the quarter to make the company a better place. So 5 minutes on that, and then 5 minutes on how they're doing in their job. But all of this fits back into this vision about where we're going and how we're going to get there.
Absolutely. And that really sums up the importance of it. So to wrap this all up, what are some actionable steps that people should take to start applying all the different things that we talked about?
Well, number one, I would suggest that they buy a copy of Traction. Traction is this book right here. I don't get anything from it, so I'm not selling you something that is going to benefit me. This is going to benefit you. Traction will in great detail tell you how to use the Vision Traction Organizer. So that's number one. Go up and download the VTO. Then, one of two things. Either go find an EOS implementer to come help you put this together, which would be immensely helpful to you, or do it yourself. It's all available on eosworldwide.com. Everything you need to do is there. I would just caution you, there's lots of videos on YouTube about brain surgery, but I wouldn't suggest you do it yourself. But there are lots of people who do self-implementation for Traction, which we applaud, because we want every business to be the best it can possibly be. We happen to believe this is a great system for helping companies do that. So if you're going to do it yourself, set aside 7 hours off-site, not in the building. Go someplace away with your leadership team. And that means you've put together an accountability chart, and you're going to learn from what that means when you read through Traction, or you get on the EOS Worldwide website and start downloading the material. Take that leadership team, go out and start putting together what your core values are, what your core focus is, where you're going your 10-year target, what your marketing strategy is, what's your 3-year picture, what's your 1-year plan, what are the rocks you're going to get done in the next 90 days, what's the issues that are in our way right now, and when will we begin sharing this with the rest of the company? Those are things that you can do. If you want some help, call me. It doesn't cost you anything for a conversation. Happy to help you at any time, because there's 550 of us, and our goal is to help businesses be the best we can be. We've done it in 16,000 companies. We know there's 150,000 companies out right now who are using disciplines and tools from EOS without using implementers. We know that by 2030, we will have implemented EOS in 100,000 companies. So happy to help anybody. They can simply get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to talk them through it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Will. I really appreciate you taking the time to walk us all through that, and I'm sure everyone else does as well. And thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you all in the networking event tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time through Zoom. Talk to you soon.